guys, welcome back to Sustainable Living. I just wanted to do a brief video to show you what we're doing to stucco the walls of our home. If you saw our video about the compressed earth block and I went and explained to you about how I laid the block and used the mortar mix and all that kind of stuff, I also showed you in that video on some of the things that I would have done differently on putting stucco wire through or some kind of galvanized wire through the block in order to attach stucco wire. Since I didn't do that, I am attaching my wire different, and I want to show you what I'm doing. So what we have is we have 1-inch foam board that we're attaching to our wall. Is that I get about a 3.5 to 4-inch screw, and then I put a fender washer on it. These screws do really well in screwing into the block. The problem that I have found is actually finding a spot that's soft enough for the screw to actually go through. So sometimes you end up drilling multiple different holes before you find a spot, a joint where that screw can go through. As you can see right here, I was screwing multiple holes until I found a spot that the screw could actually go through. So that's a good thing that the blocks are that hard that they hold up. But so I put the fender washer on there to just hold the material on there so it doesn't pull out with that little tiny screw. And I only put so many on there just to hold the panel on until I could then get my wire and also my J-weep where I put my wire in the bottom of that. So then I'm using a combination of the screws and also these quick set nails that you put on with a ram set. Basically, it's a tool in which you put a nail in the bottom of this tool here, and then you put basically a discharge little thing. It's kind of like a 22 bullet, but it has no lead in it. It just has a discharge of the powder. And you load it in there, and then you basically hit the back end with a hammer. And they have different levels of these bullets. So this one is basically a number 2, which is a very low set of a charge. So it's mainly set for like shooting into mortar and softer sets of concrete like that. If you need to go into concrete, then I've been shooting a number 4. Now those smaller charges, I shoot them into my wire into the block, and that seems to do really well. I shot some of the hotter charges, and it just really shot it too deep. This is probably deeper than it probably needs to be, but some set out right flush and some going a little bit more. And but that number 2 or the brown tip seems to work really well on my wall. Now when I come through with my wire, I've been setting that ram set nails into my wall just to get my wires set up, and then I'll come back and I'll put some more fender washers and screws. So it's a mixture between the nails and the screws. I'm doing that for the purpose of the nails is going to give me the shear strength on pulling down, and then also my screws will give me the suction that will hold it against the wall so these nails won't pull out. These nails can work themselves out. That's why I have a screw and then, you know, the ram set nail and a screw. So I've got a mixture between the two to give me my shear strength and then also my lateral strength to hold it against the wall. So what we're doing is we are putting tar paper on the bottom of this wood that goes up to the bottom of this eave right here. And that tar paper will basically act as a weep that will kind of cross over onto this styrofoam board. And then we will put our stucco wire clear to the top of that and attach that normally with just a normal nail. And then just below that is the concrete bond beam, and we will then shoot those nails into that to attach it to the concrete bond beam. Now, if you saw my video where I built my house, or more likely the slideshow where I built the house, I have a bond beam, which is basically a concrete I like to refer to it as kind of like a footer, even though it's not a footer. It's like the same dimensions of a footer if you were building a house. So I have a concrete bond beam that is continuously poured all the way around the house, and that's what locks all my blocks in. So I use the number 4 shot in order to get my nails into my concrete up there, and then I'll hang my wire to that, and I'll shoot those in with the ram set. Filming?
Yep. Very nice.
We're basically going to take the stucco right up to the window. We're not going to do any outlets or anything, or outlays of the window. We're just going to go right up to the window. So we went ahead and cut a 45-degree angle at the bottom of our windows and sides to our windows and around our door jambs, so that we'll have a clean, flush stucco look. I'm going to put a rough cut piece of lumber that's going to go around my door jambs. This is just basically some furred out trim, so I can bring this out to the depth that I need. And then I will finish it off, like I said, with some nice rough cut lumber in which the stucco will butt right up to it. So we're ended up doing all the prep work, and we're hoping that's going to save us a little bit of money. And they're just going to come out and put the brown coat on, and then we're going to go ahead and put the synthetic stucco on, so it'll basically seal our walls and waterproof them. If you watched my other video, that's the one thing that is going to be detrimental to compressed earth block, is the getting wet and freezing and thawing. That is the one thing that will break down our blocks. So that's why we're going to go ahead and put the stucco, synthetic stucco on it. So doing a mixture of the screws and also the ram set has been really a great help on getting this material attached to my walls. And so far so good. I haven't seen any breakage on the other side of the block, and I think it's going to hold up. I was a little nervous about putting all these type of infractures into my wall, but you got to remember, these blocks are over 12 inches thick. So I've got some wiggle room to shoot into those blocks. I mean, you're talking a 2.5 inch nail that I'm shooting in there. So this is a 1 inch. So I'm getting about maybe 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 inches penetration into that block. And this material is meant to shoot nails into it, and it's going to hold up, I believe. Now, I was really reluctant to putting the synthetic stucco on it, or just doing stucco at all. When we first started this product, I really liked the whole concept of having this micro technology of breathable walls. I mean, they're not breathable, but they have the ability to allow certain levels of moisture particles through the wall that just had a more, I guess, livable effect, a living house, if that makes sense. Whereas conventional building, it's kind of forced air, stagnant. And so I was really protectant of the walls. I wanted to keep the walls very natural, but I'm going to kind of go with the protection factor over the breathability of the walls, just to preserve my walls. And we ended up putting this foam board on this last fall. And I got to tell you, we were absolutely amazed on seeing how stable the temperature in the house was. Now, the thermal mass of these blocks are amazing, and once it gets hot in the house during the winter, it stays hot, and then once it gets cool, it stays cool. But like I said, putting this insulation board on has just been able to maintain the temperature. This has been an extremely hot year up here in northern Arizona, pushing 100 degrees 102, 103 for multiple weeks now. And we've been maintaining a temperature of 72 degrees this hot summer. And it's much hotter than last year. And last year we were maintaining about 75 to 76 degrees in the house. And both those temperatures are just absolutely amazing. But that 5 to 6 degree difference has been amazing. And also the heating has been great. So I think this is going to be a good decision. So if you have any questions and you're using this material and you're wondering how to attach it to your blocks, this is the way we're doing it. If you're doing it a different way, please let me know. I'd be really curious to see how you're doing it.